got some baby lacinato kale here, and I'm using the Control Freak. Normally for deep frying, I would use probe control, but in this case, these are going to bubble up like crazy as soon as I drop them. So I'm using pan control so that I can put a lid on the pan immediately when I throw the kale in. So I've got my fried baby kale program set up with a 30-second timer. So as soon as I drop these, I'm going to hit my control knob, and it's going to start a 30-second timer. All right, my timer went off, so I'm going to hit that to stop the timer. And the kale chips look about done, and I'm just going to scoop them out. We got our kale chips done, so we're going to move on to blanching some peas. We've got a rolling boil going on, and I actually made a rolling boil program just to keep it up at a rolling boil. So I'm going to go ahead and drop the peas in. We're going to take a couple minutes to fully cook, so I'm just going to kind of stir them occasionally and keep an eye on them. All right, the peas are done, so I'm going to go ahead and take them off the heat. Typical rule is that they need to sit in the ice for about as long as they were in the boiling water. All right, we have our blanched peas, so we're going to go ahead and make our fondue now. I'm making our fondue, which is essentially a cheese sauce that's stabilized using potato starch from a potato puree, as well as Jalan gum. Jalan is a hydrocolloid that needs to hydrate at a very specific temperature, so the Control Freak is perfect for hydrating that Jalan. I've got a blender here with some what we call potatoes barragoul. So essentially we just cooked some potato in white wine, cream, garlic, and I've already done that, and I'm going to go ahead and blend it together. I have a vortex going in the blender, so my potatoes are nice and smooth. I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle in my Jalan and then blend it on high to disperse the gum. Now I've got some cream. I'm going to throw that into the blender and blend it with the potato puree that already has the Jalan dispersed in it. Okay, I have my cream pretty well mixed into my potato puree, so I'm going to go ahead and pour that into my saucepan and use my Jalan program that I preset in order to hydrate that Jalan. I'm going to plug in my probe in order to use probe control with the Control Freak. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the Control Freak. I'm going to select my Jalan program and then set it to probe control. And I've got my probe in there, so it's going to bring it up to 205 Fahrenheit, which is just above the temperature at which Jalan hydrates. So when it reaches that temperature, I can be absolutely certain that my Jalan will have hydrated. I have the program set to keep it going until it's been at 205 for 45 seconds. That way I can be absolutely certain that at a microscopic level, essentially, every bit of the mixture reached the set temperature. So I'm going to take my cheese, I've got some nice aged cheddar here, and I'm going to put that into the blender. Then I am going to go ahead and disengage the probe. I'm going to pour this mixture straight into the blender. I'm going to go ahead and blend together my fondue. I've got morel mushrooms, some brandy, and some cream. The morels have already been sauteed to the point where they got like slightly crispy. I'm going to go ahead and turn on my saute program, which is basically just going to give me a really high, even heat. I'm putting the morels into the pan. Now the cool thing about the Control Freak, because it has a sensor underneath the pan, it can tell whether the pan's on there or not. So I can pick it up and toss my morels in a way that you can't with most induction burners. It'll just put the heat right back on. It's not going to beep at me. It just knows whether the pan's there or not. All right, I've got some brandy in the pan. It's come up to a boil. Flame it off a bit. I don't want to completely cook it out because I want some of that alcohol flavor left in it. So I'm going to go ahead and add my cream now. And a little bit of salt there too. Now I'm just going to reduce that cream until it starts to glaze those mushrooms really nicely. All right, I have my double fried morels pretty much done now. They've gotten a little bit of crisp on them, and you can see all those brown bits that are on them. So I'm going to go ahead and take them out of the pan. I've transferred the morels to a clean pan. I'm going to give them a final seasoning. They look well cooked. All of our mise is done. We're going to go ahead and